Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we are hand feeding a baby Ruby Gold Macaw, and Yulii Anna is going to do it. The first thing you want to do is turn on the hot water. Turn that on, kind of stick your finger in there and see till it gets to 100 to 105 degrees. You can either use a thermometer or your hand. That's about right there. Okay, the next step, and I use a hair dye bottle from Sally Beauty Supply. Feeding this one bird, we're going to put about 4 ounces of that hot water in our bottle. Set up to about 4 ounces. Okay, then take our water and pour it out of that. Put that water back in there. And since now leave the cap off. You're going to then take the exact hand feeding food from KT is the one I prefer to use. We're going to put about 4 heaping teaspoons in there. Yeah, just about like that. 4 heaping teaspoons. Okay, stir that up good. Alright, then when you get that stirred good, that there's not any lumps or anything in it, kind of test it with your finger or put a little dab on your arm to make sure it's not too hot.
That's okay.
Okay, now pour that in our little bottle. Put the lid back on the bottle. Okay, shake it up a little bit like that, and let's take it back to the bird. Yay! You gonna help? Okay, go ahead and take him out of the box, and I try to pick him up just like you're picking up a chicken. Keep from having those toenails poking in you. Alright, set him there on the towel, and let him calm down just a minute. Now, put your hand kind of cupped over his head, where you're kind of covering his eyes with your hand, because he's going to jump when we feed this. And we're going to take that bottle, go in his left side, always his left side. Put it right there, kind of just squeeze it as you go. It's kind of like feeding a jackhammer to hold him down. He's hungry and he says, "Let me have it." And you just want to protect those eyes. And go slowly in that he will take it real fast, but we don't want to overfeed him or feed it too fast. You want to, on the small birds in particularly, and the young birds in particular, you want to feed from the left side. The right side could go in the wrong place and aspirate them. So very carefully and slowly, just like you're doing. And periodically take that bottle and put your hand over the nipple of it and shake it up just a little more, because it tends to settle out. He's taking it right along. You'll get it all over him and you too. And as they get older, they'll get to where they'll shake their head, and before you know it, you'll be covered in bird food that they've thrown at you. And they're feeling his crop and just seeing he's taking everything down and taking it very good for the first time you've ever fed one in your life, and the first other person besides me that's ever fed this particular bird. I've been feeding him for about 20 days now, and he's more than doubled in size, and it's getting where he's real good at it. But say most people can learn to feed one. It's just a matter of being careful and not overdoing it. That ought to be, he'd take a little more. He's healthy. Now that's about enough. I just kind of observed that crop. We didn't take quite all of it. That was about 2 ounces or so that we fed him. He's been fed a little later in the day than normal, and that's doing good. And that finishes feeding that little bird. Now all we do is put him back in the box.